When your dick doesn't do what you want it to do during sex, remember to stay with her. Don't leave the present moment. Hey guys, I'm Stephanie Ganowski, sexologist and sex coach for men, and this video is all about giving you a tip for overcoming your ED or erectile dysfunction by helping you to stay in the present moment and stressing how important that is, because so many of you get so worried about what if I lose my hard-on, what if this happens, what if it doesn't work, what if I can't penetrate, and you have so many what if questions that keep you out of the present moment during sex. And when you're out of the present moment, that means you're not highly aroused. When you're not highly aroused, anxiety can take over even easier than it did before. So let's not do that, okay? Let's not allow that to happen. So in order for you to not allow that to happen is to go in with the intention of, I can handle whatever happens, and I'm just gonna do my best to stay with her in that moment, physically and emotionally. Keep an emotional connection and keep some sort of physical connection. That physical connection doesn't necessarily have to mean eye contact, right? If you're like, okay, well, what do I do? It can also mean you just asking yourself, all right, what's turning me on about her right now? What can I focus on that's turning me on right now? That's a great question to ask yourself when you feel all the thoughts ramping up in your brain and you're like, oh no, I'm getting anxious. Okay, bring me back. What can I focus on that turns me on right now? And that way you're refocusing your mind to pleasure and what turns you on and what keeps you or gets you more aroused, because that's what's going to keep you more in the moment, engaged with her, versus just being off in your thoughts that are not in a good place. And then she notices that. Like, women feel when you're disconnected. There have been a lot of women to say things like, his erection is not that big of a deal, but it's the disconnect that really hurts me. That's a very common thing for women to say. It's like, because she feels you disconnecting and getting all in your head and making a huge deal about something that most likely is gonna come right back, and most likely is just a temporary thing, doesn't happen all the time, and it's just, there's no reason to panic about it, especially because sex is not all about having a hard-on. There's so many other ways to create pleasure and feel good in a sex experience without your hard-on. So when you ask yourself questions like, what can I focus on to turn me on right now? Maybe focusing on her breasts and having some nipple play, or like licking them, touching them. Maybe you're turned on by her vagina and you're like, all right, I want to put my fingers in, I want to put my mouth in. Like, it helps you to focus on all these other aspects of sex that a lot of guys who feel really confident in their dicks don't explore. And those guys miss out on so much pleasure because they only rely on penetration as the one source of pleasure, which doesn't help most women. Like, most women don't want to just be penetrated the entire time with no other forms of touch or connection. That's not great sex. So you actually have an advantage. I know most of you won't really believe this when I say it, but when you go through a certain challenge in relation to your dick, or you have sex challenges in your communication, or you feel insecure, you have a sex-related insecurity, it actually helps you to become better at sex, because those of us who struggle lean into the struggle and try to figure it out, right, and come up with a solution. And we're like, oh, wait, there's all these other things that make me great in bed. Let me focus more on these things and get good at these other things so that I have less anxiety about the penetration. And then those guys in that situation end up being the best in bed, because now they've learned more about how they can experience pleasure in other ways. And because you learn how to experience pleasure in other ways, you have less anxiety around just relying on your dick, which tends to resolve a lot of psychologically induced dick-related problems. Woo! Okay, so that was a lot there. I hope you're still with me. But what I'm basically saying is you want to go in with the mindset of, hey, like, whatever happens, I got this. And there's so many other ways to pleasure her besides my hard-on, and it will come right back. And really believe that. Like, reassure yourself and take the pressure off of yourself, all right? Because there really are so many other ways that you can enjoy sex, through massage and through, like I said, just full body naked caressing, dry humping, right? Like, for different forms of foreplay with toys, like using lubrication and flavors and heat, right? With hot waxes and different types of touch, like scratches or tickles. There's so many things. And I usually help my clients to understand how many forms of pleasure they can bring into a sex relationship by thinking of of the five senses. Like, what do you want to see and focus on visually? How do you want to touch, or how do you want to experience touch? How do you want to smell anything? Like, put the room, light certain flavor, lit certain candles, right? Or certain fragrances. Tasting, like, what do you want to taste? Do you want to incorporate food or flavored lube, or just tasting, going down on her and tasting her? So what do you want to hear? Do you want to play music? Do you want to hear dirty talk? Do you want to give dirty talk? And just knowing that there's all these things that make sex so exciting and pleasurable besides just penetration, okay? You don't want to just be and that's it. That's not fun. Definitely not fun for her to just be doing that the whole time. And you want to experience more pleasure than that too. I'm sure you do. So hopefully this video helped you and just made you realize that the most important thing is to stay with her, stay connected, because when you do stay connected and stay focused on pleasure and sharing a moment with her, having fun with her, connecting with her, feeling pleasure with her, you start to realize, wow, sex is so much more than my hard-on. And then you take the pressure off of your hard-on, which actually gives you more hard-ons, oddly enough. And by the way, if you want 4 more tips on gaining and maintaining your erection, check out my podcast, What I Love About Sex, and go to the episode, 5 Ways to Gain and Maintain an Erection. So I hope that helps you as well. I think it's a really great episode. This is one of the tips, stay with her, and then I give you 4 more. So enjoy, and I'll see you next time.